All right, folks, welcome back to the Janitor's Closet. My name is Bryce Hunt. I am joined, as always, by lead football expert Josh Frey-Sam. And, folks, the holidays were not the happiest to us as far as our week 16 plays, a 2-4-1 record. But, as we mentioned last week, this is a little bit more quiet on the work schedule for us, especially coming off a bounce back week. That means we were in the lab twice as long as we normally could be, which opens the door for a pretty massive week this week. Me and Josh were just talking about it. We have 7 plays on today's show, which I believe to be a record for our season this year. We could have 8,
Indeed.
depending on how we're feeling. We're looking at a little teaser potentially for Thursday nighter that we're cooking up here that we might have out by the time this video comes up. So we will be working on that. We hope everyone's holidays were great. We're getting into that new year. But yeah, we're hoping to keep this thing rolling. We're still at a good record here at 53-40-3, 7 plays as we mentioned. And Josh, we're pretty excited for all of these.
Yeah, man. This a few times a year, you look at the slate and it's just kind of like, it almost like the slate, the card is speaking to you almost. You know what I mean? You look at the lines and stuff like that. It's just like feel like you're seeing it clearly. And I'm setting myself up for a major disappointment in saying that right there. But at the same time, we're looking to bounce back big time here, coming off of what was really, it was just a disappointing. It was a down slate, down card last week. And there's actually not too many plays in a year where like there's a couple plays in a year where you kind of just look back and you're just like, oh man, like the way the game unfolds, like should I have really made that bet? Last week was kind of that bet for me when I was looking at the Buffalo Bills on the road, laying 12 and a half points at the Chargers. That just wasn't the spot to take the Bills. And so that, like, I do want to apologize to the viewers, those who tailed us there. That was that's on me. That's squarely on me. I lobbied for that pick, and that's the one that we ended up posting there, and that was one that just wasn't even close from the jump. So there's a couple of those each year, but hopefully that's now that we've had a chance to kind of mull over this slate big time here heading into this week. Things look clear to us here. Looking forward to having a huge bounce back week here. This is a big one. Like this is our biggest one of the year. Looking forward to it. A lot of plays here, a lot of volume, and a lot of plays that we're feeling really good about. And not to mention, before we get into the picks here, I got 3 more, I would say in total. Mulling over one in that New Orleans and Tampa Bay game, which we do have already a play on it today. And then I'm also mulling over 2 plays for the Sunday night football game. Sunday night are my Packers against at the Minnesota Vikings. So those will be coming out on X if we do decide to pull the trigger on those. But yeah, stay tuned for those. This could be a massive slate for us.
You mentioned those plays coming out on X potentially. You can follow us there at TJC Bets. You can follow us right here where you're watching the video. Reminder, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and keep it locked because down the stretch, this is a time where Josh likes to heat up on any notice he can get hot as a pistol. We've seen that in the previous weeks,
Right.
and we're going to see that this week as we have 7 plays for you. We mentioned jam-packed show. Let's get right into it, not keep you here any longer than we need to. Down to business, starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting Seattle this week.
Yeah, this is prime. You look at every single week. You look at the spots for all these, and a lot of these I'm going to mention. I've been using that all season. Like I like the spot, or I don't like the spot. You got to look at the spot that these teams are in. You look at the spot that both these teams are in, Seattle and Pittsburgh. They are both in the thick of their respective playoff races in each of their conferences. These wild card race games have been going over like in the past few weeks. Like they're going over. Coaches are being a little bit more risky. They're pushing it on fourth down. They're throwing more. The point totals as a result are going up. They are just getting more and more aggressive to try and push to try and score more points at this time of the year. That's just as simple as that. This is a low total of 41 and a half. Seattle's defense we've seen as vulnerable. Pittsburgh's defense we have seen as vulnerable. Obviously, Seattle knows what they need to do, and that is stop TJ Watt. If you can do that, obviously you have a pretty good chance against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, which is likely, I believe, going to be down Minkah Fitzpatrick, couple of safeties on the back end, couple of playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. So Pittsburgh's defense doesn't look quite as good this time around. Smith, second week back from his injury, his groin injury that he was tending to. DK Metcalf looks great. Tyler Lockett continuing to do his thing, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, they're beginning to hopefully unlock him. Kenneth Walker's looked absolutely incredible. And then on the Pittsburgh Steelers side of thing, hopefully Mason Rudolph and that offense can kind of just put together enough points here to push this total over the number. There's going to be a little bit of drizzle, I think, in this game. It's in Seattle, so nothing really to really worry about too much. But over 41.5 is the play here. We really like this play a lot. Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
And the next one will be the Atlanta Falcons visiting Soldier Field and the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and you know what? There's speaking of weather, actually, this isn't going to be necessarily a huge weather game either. The one notable thing here, and this is kind of where this play is stemming from, just a little bit. I took a little bit into account here, is it's going to be a little bit windy in the Windy City, but it's going to be cold there in Chicago, and that's always something worth noting when you're talking about a dome team in the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Chicago, an outdoor team at Soldier Field there. So the play here is going to be Chicago -3. I know that some people are looking at this game and saying Atlanta, maybe just a spot that they're fighting for a playoff spot. We've taken Atlanta in this spot before where they're fighting for the playoff lives. They burned us. This is a team that is proven to be in close games. Like this is probably going to be a close game. This is just simple. We're going to be sweating this one. I don't think this one's going to be an easy hit by any stretch of the imagination. This one is going to also come down to, and I hate banking plays on just one player, but his contribution to this offense is so much. DJ Moore, he looks like he's going to play. I don't think there's any really there's no concern of him not playing really at this point, even though he had that ankle injury last week that limited him. But I think he's going to play. If he, for some reason, does not play, we're backing out of this play immediately. There's no we're canceling this play, and we'll send that out on X to let everybody know. But as it stands right now, I think Chicago's just better equipped at home here in this spot. Atlanta is just a team that we've shown that we cannot trust, and Chicago's defense in particular is kind of the bigger part of this game. That why I like Chicago at home here laying this number. Is Chicago's defense has been playing really well, and they've been really stout against the run. Arthur Smith said in his conferences earlier this week, leading up to the game, that he has admired what Chicago is able to do in terms of stopping the run. We know that they're not going to be necessarily much of a threat to pass the ball. That is at the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to rely on that run game and Bijan Robinson, Cordell Patterson, Tyler Algier. While Chicago at this very moment is about as good as any team in the NFL as far as stopping the run. So we're going to back Chicago, assuming that the Atlanta Falcons aren't able to put up too many points this week. Hopefully Chicago's offense can do enough to cover this number here at home.
All right, Josh. And for our next play, we're going to look at this red hot Rams offense taking on the New York Giants here.
This is one that if you follow us on X, you got the big time edge here on this game. This is one that we sent out an early play for on X. If you're not following us, again, at TJC Bets on Twitter, over 42 is where we got this number at. This is now at 44.5, this number, because of Tyrod Taylor being officially announced as the starting quarterback, which is an obvious upgrade over Danny DeVito. Danny Cutlets was a great story, but it kind of ran its course. You know, he's not quite. Not quite. He's not an NFL quarterback. That is simple as that. Maybe he can make progress into a solid backup one day, but at this very moment, he's not a guy that I want trotting out there for my football team. With that being said, Tyrod Taylor is going to give this offense a boost against what has been actually a pretty stout Los Angeles Rams defense. Los Angeles is about as hot as anybody in the NFL right now. Big thanks to obviously some contributions from that defense, but even bigger thanks to that offense. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and obviously Matt Stafford are just absolutely blazing right now. And for that reason, that is why we have the over here. We're playing this up to, we're recommending this. It is no longer a best bet after it hits, if it surpasses 44.5 points. If it is at 44.5 or less, we still are okay taking the over in this game. We think this is the offense in the Los Angeles Rams is going to do the bulk of the carrying here, but we also think that the New York Giants are going to have their fair share of opportunities with Saquon Barkley, hopefully getting a lot of touches here, punching the end zone. Hopefully they're scoring, putting up 14, 17 points. Maybe even they break that 20-point threshold, and the Los Angeles Rams do the bulk of the carrying here. So over 42 is our play, but obviously playable up to 44.5.
Yeah, over 30 points for the Rams themselves in 4 of their last 5. The one that they didn't, they finished with 28 points. So we're looking at them to stay hot
Yeah.
on the offensive side of the ball as we move to a pretty intriguing matchup here for a lot of people with the Detroit Lions and Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, this is in many ways, some people might look at this as the game of the week. I think that the next game that we're going to talk about, the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens, that's probably the game of the week. But Detroit and Dallas is far and away the highest point total in this week's card at 53 and a half at the time of recording. This is another one of those, man. I love the spot for Dallas and I hate the spot for Detroit. Now, if I was in a pick'em league or something like that, and I had to, or in a survivor pool at this point or something like that, and I had to pick a team to go on, I would take Dallas money line in a heartbeat. This is a no-brainer for me. You got Detroit Lions coming off of an emotional victory, clinching the NFC North, their division for the first time in 3 decades. This team, and then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who are coming off of back-to-back road games, 2 road losses against 2 tough opponents in the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. They're going back home now. Dallas is at home where they're comfortable, where they're averaging like 35 points a game here. Like Dallas is going to put up points here against a vulnerable Detroit defense here. And Detroit might also put up a lot of points, but I'm not confident enough in terms of taking the over here that high of a total. What I am more confident in is the Dallas Cowboys putting up a boatload of points and getting right here. You want to talk about a potential get right spot for the Dallas Cowboys? This is the one. With that being said, we're taking Dallas team total over 30 and a half points. This is a lot of points, but you look at the history, what history would tell you with Dallas Cowboys. You look at the spot that the Detroit Lions are in. They just are emotionally spent, is my theory here, coming off that emotional victory. I think that defense is going to take a half step back from what they even have been, which is average at best this season. And Dallas Cowboys are going to be kind of in that get right spot where they might remind the league, like, hey, we're one of the beasts of the NFC as well. Don't forget about us. So I like Dallas here at home, putting up a boatload of points.
Okay, so the Cowboys team total will be the play there. You mentioned that game of the week between two teams fighting for that top seed in the AFC, coming off pretty huge wins, respectively, against what a lot of people were calling the cream of the NFC here. We got Miami going to M&T Bank to face the Ravens.
Yeah, there's this is kind of one of those where like people might look at the spots of these two teams and say, I hate the spot for both of these teams, right? Baltimore's coming off an absolute shellacking over the 49ers, which I'm sure you enjoyed thoroughly, Bryce. And then you got the Miami Dolphins who are coming off of a close, hotly contested victory over those Dallas Cowboys. Here's the thing though with this one. The Miami Dolphins are going to be, I think, without Jalen Waddle. Although it's at the time of recording, it's not official. But Jalen Waddle has a high ankle sprain. He's not playing in this game. They just can't. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, we have seen the effect that if one of these guys are missing from this offense, we have seen the effect that it has on the rest of the offense. Miami's not, this isn't the same offense without one of their top 2 receivers in the lineup. They have Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, of course, in the backfield there. They're going to have Tyreek Hill still there. So this offense is still going to be able to compete, but you're going up against the Baltimore Ravens in the at home, who the Baltimore Ravens coming off of a big time victory of their own. You also look at the Ravens, and they have a little bit of, they just seem to have like a little bit of a juju building here for the Ravens right now. Like they're feeling themselves. Lamar Jackson's firmly in the MVP conversation. They're going to go up against a defense that has suffered some injuries. Baltimore's defense themselves is riding high right now. They have firmly cemented themselves as a top 3, top 2, potentially top 1 defense in the NFL at this point in time in the year. At home with, keep in mind, the winner of this game is likely going to be the number 1 seed, get that first round bye in this year's playoff, AFC playoff. So this is without a doubt the game of the week. I think we're siding with the home team here. I like the spot better for Baltimore than I do Miami here. Shorter number. I think this is the better team overall. A slightly healthier team, even if you want to call it that as well. I like the juju on the Baltimore Ravens side. John Harbaugh is going to have his boys up for this one. Miami is also, let me just say, both these teams have kind of been inconsistent at times, but I just like where Baltimore's at heading into this game. Give me -3. And Baltimore's been kind to us this year.
Very kind to us, and continue to be last week. Hopefully they will be this week as we transition to the Raiders and the Colts.
Yeah, this is I'm looking up and down our picks here. This might be the easiest play of the week for us. Like this was one that, and let me just shout out Adam Chernoff, who is one of my most trusted handicappers for actually before I even took a look at the slate. I listened to him a little bit. Was watching some of his content, and he opened up my eyes to this one. You look at the spot here for the Indianapolis. You want to talk about emotionally spent teams, Bryce? Look at the Las Vegas Raiders after last week and Kansas City Chiefs. They go and knock off Patrick Mahomes. They get that monkey off their back. You had Alec Pierce, the head coach, literally crying after the game. Like this was their wow. This was their playoff. This was their Super Bowl here, right? Like they are back technically in the playoff conversation. They have now cemented Alec Pierce's bid at being the head coach going forward for this team. Now they got to go and really let's keep in mind here. This was the defense doing all the heavy lifting last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. That offense, it's not like the offense went and put up a bunch of points against the Kansas City Chiefs. This was the defense. Now you got to go reset emotionally and get on the road and go up against the Indianapolis Colts, who are coming off a clunker on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. You got to go up against the Indianapolis Colts, who are firmly battling for that AFC South position as well. Again, this just the spots for both of these teams, man. This is an easy decision. Indy -3.5 at home. It has to be. You'll notice a common trend. We're taking a lot of home home favorites here. There's a lot to like in the home favorites this week, but just firmly the spot here. Indy is the better team, better quarterback, better coach. Like it's a short number. I love the spot, man. Indy -3.5.
Yeah, and it goes a little bit in reversal of what we usually do, which is take a little bit of that road chalk. But happy to be siding
Yeah,
with the home teams so
yeah,
far to this point. We'll see what we have with the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
yeah. Last play of the day here. I'll try to wrap this one up quick here. We're going once again with the home team, Tampa Bay -2.5. I, I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints and I'm like, who have the New Orleans Saints like beat this year? And like, what are they? Have they looked good even when they're beating some of these teams? Like you look in recent weeks, they're in the playoff conversation. They beat teams like the Giants with Danny DeVito and the Carolina Panthers, right? Who are the Carolina? What are the Carolina Panthers? Even though my Packers almost lost them last week, um, the New Orleans Saints, like I just no reason to believe in this team at this point. I don't. I like the defense can have its moments. Derek Carr is just tough. Now let's flip over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is one of the hottest offenses in the NFL. Like Baker Mayfield is playing. Baker Mayfield is playing unreal right now. He is playing at a level that's like, let me earn an actual longer term contract here with this team. Um, the defense is obviously they're coming around. They're still pretty vulnerable against the pass here, but they still have a lot of veterans on both sides of the ball here. This is a team that knows how to get it done in these moments. Let me take Tampa Bay -2.5 here to win by a field goal over the sporadic New Orleans Saints, who I just have no idea what they're getting, and they just have not shown up in these games either. Like in these meaningful, critical points in the season, they just have not shown up in these games. I don't. I have no reason to believe in Dennis Allen. I have no reason to believe in Derek Carr and the rest of this team. Alvin Kamara has kind of disappeared a little bit due to usage in recent weeks. I, give me the hotter team here. Like this is just I don't really. I'm looking at this and I'm kind of scratching my head. Why is the number so short? Um, just give me the hotter team here at home in such a critical, potentially division winning type of game here. Tampa Bay -2.5 is the easy play.
Okay, there you have it, folks. Those will be the picks for this week. Reminder to keep an eye on that Thursday night teaser. It could be out, as we mentioned, by the time this video
It will be.
you're watching this video.
It'll be out.
Okay.
It'll be out.
Okay, so keep your eyes peeled there at TJC Bets on Twitter or X. And yeah, Josh, I think these plays, this is our biggest slate to this day. It's kind of we were talking about kind of as a week that we'll look back on when the season's over, and hopefully we'll be doing that in good light with 8 wins under our belt and some sunglasses on these big noses next week.
Oh, no, we got to get these things out again, man. We do. We got to get these things. Like these things, they're dusty right now. I'm looking. They're dusty. I'm looking at them. What's going on over here, man? We've been close too many times, but I'm ready to rock here again. Let's go. Let's sweep the slate.
We can taste it. We can taste it. Folks, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below. Let's take this thing to the moon. We appreciate you tuning in if you made it to this point, and we'll see you right here this time, this place next week. In the meantime, bet responsibly. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.